episode 666 of the Too Thicc Pod. I am your host, Jeremy. We're all things sports cards and levity. I've got Manny with me today, and I'm going to allow Manny to do all the introductions today because he was responsible for putting this collaboration, this consortium of awesome human beings together. So I'm going to let him give the intro. Undoubtedly, he'll fuck it up, but we'll have good fun.
Yeah, he screwed me. He threw me on the bus on that one. But today we welcome the guys from down under, the two of the GOATs in the hobby. We have Double Coverage. We have Domma and Sauce with us. If you guys haven't listened to their podcast, you need to. They have no filter. They speak what they want, and you might be on their lemon list. So just be aware on this. But we'll explain a little bit more about their podcast as we go.
Yeah, so we've got Domma and Sauce, and if you guys want to just give a brief introduction, who you are, how long you guys have been together, a little quick origin story, just to familiarize the American audience to the awesomeness, the bush pulling cards, the unfiltered, the opinionated Aussies who are going to tell me about my damn president. Go ahead.
Did you want me to do I always do this. I've got it down pat now. I'll do it, Saucy. So, I am Domma and the great man Sauce, as I introduce him every week on a Wednesday on the Double Coverage podcast. Thank you to Jeremy and Manny, aka Rick Jeremy. So that's what I accidentally called him on the first time I ever gave Too Thicc a shout out on our pod.
Yeah, you're going to change it to Ron Jeremy in a second, aren't you?
Yeah, it is going to be Ron Jeremy. But we've been running for 2 years now, 2.5 years, I think, or just over 2 years. We started during COVID. Sauce and I always wanted to do a podcast when we were in high school together, and it never eventuated. We're big sports nuts and we love American sports, and we were one of the very few at high school that followed American sports and followed it religiously, especially the NBA during that time in like 2011 when we were still very young. We're getting on with age these days, but yeah, I've always been in the hobby. I've been in since I was around 10. I'm 29 now, so 19 years. Saucy found the hobby around 2018, 2019, I think.
Yeah, 2018, 2019. Yep.
Yeah, relatively new, but knows I've been in for 19 years. He's been in for 4, and he knows probably 10 times, if not 20 times the amount that I do. So he's just surpassed me already in 4 years. So,
well, I've got the encyclopedia. We've got the encyclopedia that I ask many questions to in the DMs. He knows absolutely everything about the hobby.
Yes, one of our listeners. So, yeah, we've been doing it for 2 years. And once again, thanks for having us on.
And one thing that I wanted to ask real quick, Manny, before, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about tomorrow. Tomorrow is holiday for you guys. You have the Super Bowl of Australia coming up, AFL championship game. Are AFL cards big in Australia? Because it's not something that I've actually ever seen stateside.
Saucy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look, it's not a world sport. It's not sort of world known sport. I think it's gotten more traction over the last few years, especially in the States with Pat McAfee giving it quite a few shout outs on his show and showing highlights and things. AFL cards are big, not to the extent of what NFL football cards are in the States, but it is still quite significant considering the market really here in Australia is it only spans across maybe 3 of the states, because there's a few states where predominantly rugby is the main sport, and then some other states where AFL, Australian rules football, is the main sport. So I mean, it's big in respective to how sort of small the market is in a sense. But yeah, like,
it's growing.
I'll put it in this perspective. Probably 3 years ago, releases of boxes, which, boxes that had guys' first rookie autographs in it, they would get released, and they would literally sit on shelves and sit in card shops for 4 or 5 months, and then eventually sell out. They're literally selling out on release every single time. And the companies had to also throw an extra release in there and also throw, increase the print run with more variations. Obviously a bit like what Panini does, that more numbered cards and stuff like that. So to create, because there's that much more demand for it. So yeah, it's growing and it is pretty big, especially here where we live in Victoria.
Yeah.
So
the next biggest release is actually scheduled for Sunday at 5 p.m. our time, and that is Optimum, which had a successful run last year. I think it sold out in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So they only make, I've actually got this up because I don't want to get it wrong. I was just doing a bit of research before.
they tell you exactly
only
how
make
many boxes they make.
700 cases. So there's only 8,400 boxes of the product made. The good thing about select AFL cards, so for all your rookie autos, it does, even if it's legend autos, it doesn't matter who you collect. All autos are on card. Every auto is on card. So if it's to 99, every single auto is to 99 on card. For the bronze, the silver's to, I think, 75, and I think 49 is like the gold for the draft pick signatures. So that's obviously, draft pick is rookie for us. And it is a massive release coming up because the standout, rookie of the year, rising star is what we call it in our sport, is getting his first rookie auto cards in this product. And safe to say it's going to fly off the shelves. I actually took a few out of my collection just to show you some of the cards. I haven't got any autos on me because unfortunately I haven't been lucky, but just to show you some of the designs. Obviously, we spoke about this one when clearly Don Russ actually dropped 2 years ago. I think that's when they came out with it, 2020. I think was the first year of clearly Don Russ. This is actually a 2007 card, and I showed this card on the pod when clearly Don Russ. And they're like, oh, it's revolutionary. Even that, there'd been basketball cards, NBA cards that had been created with that acetate see-through like look. And this is from 2007. It's one of my favorite players. So that's Ben Cousins. He plays for the West Coast Eagles. Well, did in Perth.
It's like a sketch card meets acetate. That is a badass looking card.
That's sick.
So he's one of the best to ever play. And then do you all know who Tyson Beck is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Tyson Beck actually signed a contract with like one of the releases over here. It's called Footy Stars. Team Coach, sorry. So for Team Coach, he does like his own insert set. And I think I've got the collection of this, but he designed all these cards.
That's pretty cool.
He did one player from every team. So I've just picked Sam Walsh. He plays for Carlton Blues. And then Select, I'll give him credit. So they've actually taken a lot of inspiration from the United States and the products that get dropped there from Panini. So obviously the Kaboom card came out. I don't think I've got a Bang card on me, but they were called Bang. And it had like the Kaboom style writing. It just said Bang on a silver. Saucy might have one.
No, I've got the blank canvas that they've ripped off with the blank slate.
The blank slate. And then they released these. This was in Prestige, a different product, which is like a PMG style card. So that's Nat Fife.
That's
and
cool.
They dropped that type of
yeah,
card.
we were calling it the AFL PMGs on the podcast. We're just like, I bought another PMG this week. And
because they got orange, greens, and blues. So literally the same colors as a PMG as well. So that's just a bit behind there. And then vintage
props
cards.
That Select Australia's quality control is unbelievable compared to Panini. Like it is very good quality control on their releases.
There you go. And that's
Domma,
just vintage.
What's that slab that I'm seeing right there?
So this is a platinum standard grading slab. So they're an Australian grading company.
Subgrades on the back.
Subgrades are on the back.
Okay.
There you go.
Got
so
the
they're
QR,
trying, like,
QR code.
QR code there as well. So this is a Pop 1. It actually is. I have not seen, obviously, through their company. But yeah, so platinum standard grading, definitely check them out. We've got a bit of a connection with them. We run a bulk sub for them down here in Victoria.
In our opinion, the number one Australian grading company. And it's just more like to have people more options. I don't think, I mean, there are people that do send their AFL cards to BGS and PSA. But I mean, the market's not even big enough for it for you guys. I understand, like in the States, that you're going to want to BGS or PSA holder. Let's be honest, or SGC. But the market's not big enough. So, those sort of cards, sending it to PSG also, like some of my PC cards, I just send it there. Just, Australian company. We really like the fact that they're getting behind the hobby here in Australia. They were like the major sponsor for the Hobby Hangout, which, Manny knows what that is. That's essentially our biggest show that gets thrown here. It's on twice a year in Melbourne and twice a year in Sydney, and I think twice a year in Brisbane. So there's six shows that travel around the whole year, and it's the biggest and baddest show that we have. So, and then the major sponsor, and they're really putting money behind the hobby here down under, and that's why we respect them. And we've met the owners, Brett McCullum, the owner, and obviously Chris Bilson. He's the sort of second in charge down there at PSG, and had really good chats with them. So, and just see where their vision is as a company. And look, they're doing better things than an Australian company that's been around for 15 years already, called CGA, Card Grading Australia. And they haven't been to any of the Hobby Hangout events. So we can't fathom, if you're going to call yourself the number one card grading company in Australia, you probably should front up to these events and be there and support them, and help your branding. And also the fact that we asked them to come on the podcast for free to help their branding, and they didn't come on. So that, I think that's why we've chosen PSG, and their quality is really good, guys. Like their quality of grading is really, really good, in my opinion. Like, from what I've sent there, I think every grade that I've got back has been more than fair. And they give you the subgrades, so that's a bonus.
Well, and that's cool. Like, I want to kind of touch on this too, because you guys have difficulty. I mean, we ship in the United States, we're waiting like 2 years to get our cards back from PSA. I can only imagine how long you guys wait if you're sending bulk subs to PSA or BGS. The process, I guess, can you explain some of the process that you guys have to deal with, because most of the corporation is in America, right? So you have to, when you buy cards, get them shipped and everything.
Individually, we've seen a lot of success stories sending to PSA and BGS and getting their cards back individually. Cherry Collectibles run BGS bulk sub here in Australia, so you can send your cards through them to BGS. They're also starting a PSA bulk sub also, but the major PSA bulk subber / SGC bulk subber here in Australia is the Hobby AU, which is Lane Pierce, who also created 130 Point, the website. So he runs the Hobby AU. They do all the bulk subbing for PSA and SGC cards, and he's had a lot of success. He was also a part of that Lewis Hamilton rookie card that was on Golden Auctions, the one that went for 230K. He was also instrumental in helping that Aussie collector get his card into that auction. He flew over with him to bring it to Golden. So he does a lot of that stuff when it comes to PSA, and obviously dealing with Golden on that front. And as you notice at the National, Golden did announce a partnership with 130 Point. So that 130 Point links into the Hobby AU because Lane Pierce is the founder and overseer of both those things. So
and people out there, I'm not sure if you're aware, when you search something on 130 Point and it comes up that you can buy it through, there's a link to buy stuff. Don't be like scared. Hit that link through 130 Point. That's a bit of an affiliation. It allows him to get a kickback off it. He doesn't charge you guys a cent for all the content he puts on there and all that sort of stuff. So it's a way to support Lane and support 130 Point so it can keep running. And the hobby has this, invaluable tool that they can use at their disposal. So, quick shout out there. Like, feel free to click that link and buy. Sometimes, like, I'm going to buy something on eBay and I'll go search it in 130 Point and then click the link and then go back into my eBay and then buy it, even though I'm about to buy it anyway. Like, you may as well help someone in the hobby. That's giving us something for free to use, which is great. So definitely do that.
Jeremy, one thing that that we know is, like, Americans is we're typically, your average American is pretty isolated. They're not very worldly. Their world is America, and everything outside of America doesn't exist. So as me and Manny were talking about, having you guys on and chatting about it, I started thinking about, like, the logistics, and you guys touched on it, where you're going through a bulk subber, the process of customs, the taxes that are involved, sending valuable goods, on that long flight, and then having the grading company having your cards for a long time. And, mail gets lost in the US all the time. Whether you pay for insurance, it's FedEx, UPS, all these different courier services, things get lost. So if somebody takes the time to go through BGS, SGC, PSA, do those cards carry a premium if they have the same grade relative to the PSG slab?
Of course, their premium is far and beyond a PSG slab, for example. The one thing that we're trying to push for the PSG, because we also did a HGA bulk sub as well as that went. So they're
well
flying.
for about a month.
They're flying. They got no backlog time, but their price is still more expensive than PSA. Go figure with that. So not saying we've given up on it. We pretty much have. Like, there's no point. One thing with us, we're so honest. We wouldn't want someone to send it costs 50 Australian to send a card over there. So it's like, why would you spend 50 Australian to get it slabbed when you can spend 50 Australian and get 2 cards slabbed with PSG? And it's here within Australia. You don't need to worry about all the issues. Like with us, Cherry, the Hobby AU, I can talk on their behalf. It's all insurance based to obviously do that bulk sub internationally. We had to pay for insurance. So we're covered of losses and damages and stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want to be liable for somebody's cards that they're entrusting with you to get slabbed. So we did all that. We dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. But the PSG, back onto their cards, we're trying to push Australians to literally slab up their NRL, which is the rugby cards, and also the AFL cards, and just to chuck it in here. It makes
and
so
even
much
I slabbed
more
up
sense.
a few cricket cards, so I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if you're
cricket
familiar with
cards as
cricket,
well.
which is like Australian baseball. That's what I like to call it, the Australian version of baseball.
Saucy's even put, I'm pretty sure, some basketball cards you've slubbed up in here as well.
I have.
So the one thing is, these cards, AFL cards, NRL cards, circulate the market with premiums when they're in a CGA slab. So the other grading company. So we're like, well, why are we giving them the competition? They've made absolutely no effort just because they've been around for 15 years. Platinum Standard Grading, in my opinion, have a better looking slab, better protocols. Their people are front and center. You actually can get to meet them. At the Hobby Hangout, they had their grading process. They had the camera that they use, the magnifying glass. You could actually bring your card and have a play with it so you could see what they do on a daily basis. I think 30 cards per day get graded through their grading company. I think that's what they were saying, not 30 cards.
30. No, each grader on a daily basis can only grade up to 30 cards. That's how meticulous and how much time they take to grade each individual card.
It's not 30 cards every minute like in PSA and BGS, for example. Exactly right. So, yeah, that's...
there's a financial piece to it, right? Because we're all hardworking, and the disposable income that we have for a hobby is limited. For Manny, it might be 100. For you, it might be 200. For me, 300. And for Sauce, I saw some of those cards beforehand. That's 4 and 5 figure money right there. But we, here where the way things are, and I hope PSG blows up for you guys, because I have the ability. I dropped off 50 cards today through a bulk subber, and I wanted some going to PSA, some going to SGC, and some to BGS. And I have the ability where I can. It costs me nothing to get them there. Costs me nothing, and whatever doesn't get graded comes back in a timely manner. I sell them raw and move on. Where you're at, man, that's pretty damn tough. Like, you better be pretty damn sure that when you're sending something out, you're going to be out of that card, because that's your money tied up in that asset or collectible that's going to be gone for a long time. Nothing's got to be more of a kick in the dick than sending out something that's been reviewed by 10 people that this is a 10, man. You're going to get that premium, and it comes back, and every submission now I get a PSA 6.
And that's the one thing, like, I wish everyone that listened to our podcast, or the people that haven't listened to us here in Australia, like, somehow come across this and can actually hear you say this. Obviously, you've been in the industry for so long, and you're based in the United States, to try and push across that, like, you've got a viable option there in Australia and you should be using it. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, I don't understand why people would want to send their, like, I understand why. High-end cards, I understand. If it's like a Mahomes rookie or Lamar rookie,
Messi
Trey
rookie.
Lance,
Messi
yeah,
rookie.
not that. That's Messi rookie. You send that to CGA. You just get that done and dusted. Pass that through. It gets put in a slab bin. Thanks for coming. But if you got like Maradona, not even Pele, he can go in the Messi pile. Cruyff, if you want to send them to PSA or BGS or SGC to get that value, I get that. But why would you want to send footy cards and NRL cards, cricket cards overseas or low-end basketball cards when you can create a market here in Australia and not have to wait? Their turnaround times are amazing. Like, it was a 45-day turnaround time for platinum standard grading. We got them back in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
I would also add, why
what are
are
we
you
doing?
going to send a footy card or a cricket card to an American who probably doesn't even understand what legend or all-star or all-pro or however that turn of phrase is that they're holding? To them, it might just be like, hey, this is a $3-4 card, but to you, Domma, this is a big damn card, and this is important if this thing comes back with like a BGS 9.5 or a 10 or a PSA 10.
Like Don Bradman, I'd send to like PSA or BGS. People in the States definitely know who Don Bradman is. I think it was the National, not this year, last year. Don Bradman was the flavor of the show when it came to like cricket cards. It was just so random. It's just like, oh, I've got this Don Bradman rookie card, and a few people were like, yeah, I've got one too. And that was the bit of the pump, and it was on him, and rightly so. He is the best cricketer to ever play the game, so it makes sense. But yeah, I think there's options for everyone, and share the love, and that's one thing. We did go hard on PSA and BGS and all these companies so early, but we go hard on them for a reason. I know. I was just listening to Night School with Cage just before we jumped on here, and that was a fantastic episode that you ran, Jeremy, with Courtney. So that was fantastic to hear. And Cage made a good point. It's like, if they're tuning into content and you're listening to people that are knocking other companies, they don't want to get involved. But we do that to an extent. We try not to do that with all our hobby content, but at the same time, you have to be aware of the options. I don't want people, like I said, sending cards for working out, sending it to PSA, even if, it's not even $22 because you have to be in the collectors club there to get $22. Whatever it is, we'll say $30. And I understand if you send it through Lane, you get a better rate. And if that's what you want to do, you do that. But that low end stuff, why are you spending like 30 US, which works out to be $40 a card, and then you're going to get the card back? And it's probably a low-end basketball card that's actually only worth like $35, and people don't realize they lose money on the grade.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Yeah,
it just baffles me.
a lot
It
of
just
that,
baffles me, man. Like,
it's gone back to a lot of those low end where it's like 10 or out, whereas for a while it was like 9, 10, you're good, but 8 and less, you're sort of gonna break even or lose money. But if you get a 9 or 10, it's all right, you're gonna at least make a little bit of profit. 10, you're laughing, right? It's like gone now back to what it was. So sort of probably like 2018, 2019, early then, where it's like you need to get the PSA 10s on those low end cards, or else it's like,
forget about it. Yeah,
it's what's the point? I'd rather just sell the card raw, get the few bucks that is the card, and move on to the next one. So, those sorts of things. I mean, I think the lower end cards, it's PSG is a good option, even for lower end basketball cards. Like I just sent like a Don Russ laser of a rookie in there. I think it was Tyrese Halliburton. That really doesn't really have much value. Don Russ is not a massively collected set. It's a non-numbered card. Probably like a $2 card if you put it in a bin, maybe a $1 card. I don't know. Depends on the sellers you find here. I put bargains when I'm out at the shows. I'm putting like, prism inserts of vets and stuff in there for $1, silver prisms for $1, and you got those same people at some other tables putting that stuff out there for $10 and $5. I'm like, oh man, you got to have some value for people. But yeah,
you made a good point, Domma, when you were talking about like you can hold companies accountable without just shitting on them for the sake of shitting on them. One thing that is a big frustration of mine is I work really hard for my money. I have to pay my mortgage on time every single month. There is no bullshit. I had cards that I spent a lot of money on that I paid for a 20-day service that were held for 19 months. 20 months, 21 months, and not an apology, not a $5 off coupon for next time. It was just like, oh, well, too bad, you're going to take it on the chin. And so I do think people, like, the only way you're going to impact these businesses is if there is a viable alternative, and we as collectors utilizing our hard-earned dollars elsewhere.
Yeah.
100%. Go Manny. I gotta grab something.
No, I do want to point out with their podcast too, is they do call the book BS, but they found a way to make it a positive. Like, they make fun of it. You know what I mean? So they're calling it out. They hold people responsible, but it's like in a good, positive way. So you guys do that the correct way. So I do want to point that out when you do listen to this. Yes, they're going to make fun of like BBC but they're going to call it their condom. They're going to make their own little condom wrapper called double coverage condom and wrap it up and sell it for 10 times more. Like, they'll do stuff like that. It's more of a positive and like way of like holding people accountable.
That so when Mrs. Sauce and Mrs. Domma's like, I got pregnant, they can just stand there and be like, yeah, sometimes we all get duped.
Like BBCE.
Yeah. Oh no, the design of the double coverage dingers are for them to break when you use them. Like, that is 100% exactly like BBC. BBC doesn't work, so why should ours work? As simple as that. That's the whole design of it. But
nobody likes those damn feel stealers.
Yeah. But legitimately, like, you summed it up perfectly. Like, on the weight, we've got a listener of our show that I'm pretty sure it's December 2019, and he still hasn't got his cards back. It's either December 2019 or December 2020. Regardless, he has not got his cards back, and he's been hounding PSA. And we were straight up with him. Like, I don't want to be mean, but what you see is what you get with us. We just tell you as it is. And we said, literally, I reckon they've lost your cards. Like, yeah. And they're not willing to tell you.
I'm pretty sure it was 2020, December 2020.
Maybe it's 2020. But the other thing too, with our show, if we hated all these grading companies so much, why do I have SGC slabs, BGS slabs, PSA slabs, CGC slabs? Well, this is the old CSG slab. And then I got HGA slabs. Why?
Sell out?
It's yeah. No, it's just like, we're happy to use every grading company. It's just everyone should be held accountable. And we've said it. We've said things on our show before, and people have DM'd us and said, you were so wrong on this. And we admit it. I'll come on the podcast the following week and say, yeah, I was so wrong on this, and I stuffed it up. I spoke about it on Wednesday about tour cards. I got offered in a group chat by someone that, for free, there's about 18 of us in this group chat, including Timo Werner, who if you don't know who Timo Werner is, Jeremy, he used to play for Chelsea. We added him to the group chat. He's somehow, he's in there, Manny. He's in there. He's never responded, but Timo Werner is in the group chat.
Message request. It'd be in his message request.
In his message request. Besides the point, this person goes, Domma, I know you go for the Dolphins. I will give you, I think it was like 3 or 4 tour rookie prisms for free. I don't want them. You can have them. And my comment to him was, I don't collect backup QBs, so you can keep them. Yeah, I'm eating my words, but I'll admit that. Like, I'll come on the show and admit that. I don't care. They've got nothing to hide. Yeah, stuffed up. Like, so what?
And I'll remind him, don't worry. I'll remind him, but he's not upset because it's his team, so he's happy that
exactly. We all make mistakes. We're humans, just like grading errors with humans. That's mistakes.
The easy argument, Domma, is like, hey, man, I only collect what I love. This is not about the money for me, so I hold firm that I don't collect Tua backup quarterback cards.
But that is actually how I do collect.
All I know, you didn't have a lemon this week, but Saucy could have easily gave you the lemon for that. You would have been a double lemon. Yeah, that's a lemon move.
Your one doesn't count. The biggest lemon is you wearing that lemon-colored Chelsea shirt right up there. Like, so
people that don't know, the double coverage every week, except this week or most weeks, right? You guys give out a lemon of the week. How did that come about? How did this, like, you know what? These guys are being lemons. And what it is they'll find somebody or something that someone says. Could be a podcaster, could be Jeremy, could be us, could be Domma in his own podcast. When they say something or do something, they'll call you a lemon. And then at the end of the year, they have like a Lemon of the Year award. And we actually, Jeremy, you know who won the Lemon of the Year last year. But yeah, how did that come to be? I guess call it out. Cage was actually on the bracket tournament too as well. So I just want to get I want to get a background on that.
It all stemmed from Saucy. So when we started the podcast, about 20 episodes in, I think it was like 20 or 30 episodes in, every week, or not every week, like probably every second or third week, Saucy, when we call someone, it's got different terms.
Yeah.
Lemon. All right. So ours is, I clarified it on our podcast, I clarified on your podcast. It means just like calling someone a dud or a spud. That's what we call people here in Australia. Like he's no good at what he's doing or he's done something stupid. So Saucy be talking about a basketball player and be like, this guy's a lemon, man. He's got no idea what he's doing. And then the way that Sauce said it was he used to call them lemons. He goes, this guy's a lemon, not a lemon. And then from that, Saucy goes, oh, he's pretty good. I said, should we turn this into like a segment? Saucy goes, yeah, turn it into a segment. We'll get a lemon to come up. I'll just scream lemon. We'll do this whole thing. So yeah, Saucy is the inspiration of the lemon of the year.
That's
your thoughts on it, Saucy?
It's just a phrase that I've used for so many years because it's like I think it's like one of those, you know, and it's a good thing that you can say it around people. You know, you could be watching a sport game or something like that with your mates and be like, oh, what a lemon, you know, misses an easy shot or something like that. Or your mate does something stupid. I'm like, mate, you're just a lemon. You're just a lemon, right? Like people really can't get offended to it. Like you can't get offended. You're being called a lemon, right? So
careful what you wish for,
right? I don't think you can get offended to it. So I think it's a good word, and like it's all lighthearted. Like, you know, don't forget, like, you know, whenever we give these awards, some of it's part serious, of course, when things are certainly serious and certain topics where we do give the lemon where it is, you know, very serious stuff. But you know, a lot of it's you know, jokingly giving the award. And yeah, we hope that most people, and we have given a few in the hobby where those people weren't too happy about it, you know, tagging some accounts on Instagram, but we're just like, come on, mate, you got no sense of humor. So
they blocked us. I'll put it straight up, they blocked us.
I absolutely love like when you can refer to somebody something where it's like, if they get offended, that kind of doubles down on the fact that they're an asshole. You know what I mean? And it's so like, one thing I picked up from Canada that I absolutely love is to tell somebody that they're spare parts. Like it's like one of those things like, hey, you're spare parts, bud. And it's like you can't like really get mad at it, but like if you really think about what they're saying, like when you call somebody like a spud or a dud or whatever you said, it's like, there's a lot there if you really unpack it. So I absolutely love it. Like I'm gonna start handing out lemons or however it's said.
I actually want to be. I've told him, I was like, how do I become a lemon? I'm like, I'm talking about Ronaldo every time. I'm wearing yellow on the podcast to kind of say, look it, I am a lemon. Make me a lemon, because they have that's awesome. They actually, Jeremy, they have an award, and there's this guy that follows them. He does custom cards, and it's he made him a lemon card, and it's like prism outline. It's like a prism card with a lemon, and they sent it to the person that won last year. So I'm like, man, how am I going to get it? But I went on their podcast once because Domma bailed on Saucy, so I helped out, and I actually I didn't tell Saucy this, but at the end I gave Domma a lemon because
just busted it out at the end without no pre-warning.
No pre-warning. So Domma's been called a lemon on his own podcast.
Yeah, I'll be in the bracket. Don't worry, I'll be in the bracket. But yes, Adam at beats.n.breaks on IG. He's done a lot of custom cards. This is some of the stuff he's actually done. I've got it on my desk. He's done a Ronaldo for me. He's done a Dwayne Wade as well. So he's got a Dwayne Wade there. But he does create the Lemon of the Year award, which is a slabbed card. We didn't expect it. He sent it to us, and he was listening to our podcast from day dot, and he goes, listen, I've created this. Do what you want with it. And we said, you know what? You are a follower. You're someone in the hobby, like all around great bloke. And we said, you know what? We're going to use it. So if you don't mind, do you mind making some custom cards every year? So the 2022 Le Mans of the Year looks like this. So that's this year's award.
That's nasty. I'm gonna have to say something outlandish.
Yeah, so I might even get it because I'm nominated now, thanks to Manny. So yeah, thanks to Adam. He's done a lot of custom cards as well, so he does a fantastic job with that. Yeah.
I think it's awesome, and I think part of what makes the hobby fun is like when, at the end of the day, it's escapism. It's like you're chilling with your friends, your homies. You're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about the bullshit of real life, the stresses and strains. And some people take it too serious or super opinionated. And so to bring back that levity, which is like the tagline for the show, sports cards levity, I think is awesome. And so handing out slabbed lemon cards, I'm here for that, man. I get the Patreon going, get the OnlyFans. I'll help submit. And I think the best thing you can do is never give Manny or even acknowledge it as he's begging for it. I think it's really off-putting.
It makes it more like I'm more upset that I haven't got one yet. I wake up at 4 a.m. to be like, if I say something crazy, I wake up at 4 a.m. I'm like, yes, it's time. They're talking about the lemon, and it's not me. And I'm like, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah,
so
Manny's crazy. He tunes in at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. his time and jumps on live. We've seen him. Nuts. I'm just like,
So
we're in the comments saying, go back to sleep, Manny. Go back to sleep.
I know Sauce has a hard stop here in like 2 minutes. And so the one thing we were talking about was the quality. And you were talking about the quality of cards that are coming out. You have an idea of print run in regards to case, boxes, and then through that you can get to pack odds. One thing that we bitch about over here, and it's a justified bitch, is that the complete lack of any quality control over here. You get a half decent card, it's off-centered, it's scratched to shit. I just recently got a Panini White Sparkle pack, which was essentially, you could sell them on the secondhand market between $500 and $700, and it was 3 cards. And my hit was essentially a third round wide receiver who doesn't play, that was off center, beat to shit, complete loss. What do you guys do in regards to, when you see the local products or stuff that's produced closer to you with great quality, but then, Panini and Topps, kind of being king, I'm assuming. How does that sit well when you get the local people doing it the right way? And then the shit product is what really truly carries the premium. And I'll start with you, Sauce, so that way you can answer before you bounce out.
Well, on that note, doing it the right way, as well as getting a representative from the company to sit down with every player and get every single card in the product on card order as well. So, there's some things here that's done by Select Australia, the company that's really, really top quality. In that situation, the White Sparkle, it's 3 cards in the pack. You would expect that there'd be care taken with those 3 cards in the pack. It's frustrating. It's super frustrating. And it's part of the reason that I'm like, I don't really venture too much into ripping backs. And when it is, it's like something stupid or fun, like we have in the past, Playboy cards or Baywatch cards, Domma. And what else? We got bench warmers. I don't know if you've seen that product. Make sure you look it up, bench warmers, because we're going to rip a box of that at some point in the near future. That will be quite fun. But yeah, I'm just like, and I'm a like singles, man. Like, buy the singles, then you can choose the card you want. Understand what you're buying before you're opening the pack. Nothing worse than dropping $300 to $500 on a hobby box, and you get a hit, but obviously the hit's banged up, off-centered, and the quality control's not there. It's a frustrating thing. It's a funny thing to explain to someone who's new to the hobby. You get these cards from a box, and you pull out the box, and then based on how quality the card is out the box, you can enhance the value with the grading of it. And they're like, yeah, but it just came out of the box, so shouldn't it be like top quality? I'm like, not necessarily the case. These companies mass produce, and I think that's what people need to realize. But the thing that frustrates me is the extent this Prism's got to an extent. People got to remember, rewind 4 years ago, Prism hobby boxes were $150, right? Not 1,000 or whatever they're releasing at now. So it was meant to be a low to mid tier product, a low product, I would say. At that price point. Now it's gotten to the point where, you know, they're releasing it this much, and even Panini themselves releasing Prism that much on their site, Panini Direct. So, you know, they need to start taking more care, because if you're going to throw that price tag on it, and you're throwing that price tag on it yourself from, you know, your first market price by putting it out on Panini Direct, the photo boxes, man, you got to take more care. You got to take more care there. I don't know. And that's why I'm very hesitant to rip boxes. And when it is, it's just like, you know what, I'm happy. I'm happy ripping this box knowing I'm going to get potentially $5 worth of cards. And I'm happy at the price that I bought the box. And that's the main thing that you got to say to yourself. I'm happy at the price that I bought the box. You got to know the risks. And that's why I probably don't rip as much as I used to. I probably ripped like nearly close to $3,000 worth of Prism last year. And I got absolutely Prism retail. I got absolutely F all, man. Like, I think my best card was like a Cole Anthony auto. And then like I hit like a few silvers, no silver Ant-Man, no silver LaMelo, none of that. So
This is a color from a Prism. That's Rex Ryan. It is a head coach who got popped for having a foot fetish, and the damn thing is off-centered. Like, what hobby participant wants a trading card of a coach who, other than having a foot fetish, really doesn't have any claim to fame? And we as the consumer take it, because
I know.
next time Prism comes up for sale, it will sell out.
Yep.
It's just insane. It is crazy. I've got a bit more on that. I know Saucy does
that's
need
the
to
truth.
take a
Sauce,
leave.
thank you for jumping on, young man. I hope you have a spectacular day.
And make sure you follow him at Saucy Collectibles.
Thank you, gents. It's a pleasure as always, and hopefully we can do it again another time. And I'll catch you around.
See ya.
That was
See
a
you,
sexy
Saucy.
finish.
Be good. Stay safe. Love you. Miss you. Bye.
All right,
You
now
got me now. So
the hard questions, Jeremy.
yeah, now you can ask me anything you want about Sauce. But just quickly on that quality control, Panini release, how many is it? You'd probably know more than what I would, Jeremy, even yourself, Manny, on like AFL, NFL, and basketball products. How many products do they release per year? It started getting out of hand. I can't even keep up with how many they release now. It's like more than 25 products.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and if you don't know any better, you buy these products, and
yeah,
maybe you get the LaMelo and it says Prism on it, but it's Chronicles and it's black silver, and it doesn't carry the premium. People don't understand and end up getting, they leave with a sour taste in their mouth.
So the reason why the quality's so good with Select is, I've brought it up here. 2020, they released 4 products. 2021, they released 4 products. 2022, this year, Optimum, as we mentioned at the top of the show, will be their 5th product. More than likely, there'll be 6 products, because Supremacy, which comes out at the end of the year, is like the flawless / immaculate of the product. And it's like, cards are incredible. I think it's like 2 cards per box or whatever it is there. So that's probably why as well the quality's so good, and they can afford to get around to every player and get them to sign everything, because it is limited. That's why the cases are limited. The products are limited throughout the year, but they're smart with their pricing point as well. And that's the other thing, the availability for kids to get into that sport and that side of the market here in Australia is so much more accessible than what it is over in the States. For example, kid wants to go buy a pack of Prism or Select, forget about it. Like even Hoops is expensive, like for a box, where Footy Stars, which is their low-end tier product, is $105 a box. Doesn't fluctuate. That's what it is, $105. If anything gets discounted later on, then they have Spectrum. I can't remember how much that was. I think that might have been 140. Prestige is a bit more high end. That's 180 a box. Brilliance was 200 a box, I think. And the new release, I think, is 250 or 300 a box for Optimum. So, but that is a autograph product. The funny thing about Footy Stars at $105 a box, You can get Premiership predictors, which are like the Super Bowl predictor. You can get Brownlow predictors, which is like the MVP award. You get like those bang cards I mentioned. You get numbered cards. It's unbelievable. For $105, there was people turning over 50 to 75% back on their box on every single one they ripped. 50 to 75. And if you hit the high end, you're making 100, 150, 200% on the box. It's incredible. So it's not like Saucy said, we're not opening Prism or Optic and going, oh, well, I'm opening this knowing that probably I've spent $1,000 plus and I'm getting $5 in return because I'm going to get absolutely nothing. So that's where it outweighs. There's less product, higher quality versus mass produced at the moment. And the quality is starting to seep through like crazy and everyone's noticing it. Like with Panini products and Topps products, it's like a leaky tap at the moment, a real leaky tap. So
I recently acquired like Patrick Williams is a basketball player for the Chicago Bulls that I collect, and I went through hell and I got his 1 of 1, and it's still in the case from Panini, like something similar to this, where it says the Panini sticker came directly from them. This bottom corner is just absolutely mangled, beat to shit. And I'm probably into that card for more than I'd like to be, but it's it's a PC item, so it's not so much about the money. But the point being is somebody looked at this and said, yeah, that's good. Send it out. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, there's accounts these days, Jeremy, you can send to and they can fix your card with some card care, if you know my drift.
I don't want to be involved with that hanky-panky.
Well, that's what scares me too, though. Like our sports that we like soccer, us three, and even Saucy, and we like F1. They're starting to get mass produced. Like more and more products of this is coming out. Prior, it was just like what Topps Chrome, World Cup Prism, and Panini Soccer, right? Would you say? And Topps like UEFA Champions. Now it's like so many different products for soccer. It's kind of scary. Merlin, was it Merlin that just came out?
Yeah, Merlin just came out.
That actually has sweet inserts. It has like the match ball. I'm trying to get like the set of those. That's pretty cool. But man, I'm getting nervous with soccer because it just seems like people are getting hyped that don't like soccer. They're just buying it because they think that they're going to flip it during the World Cup. And they're just mass producing everything.
Yeah, I think it's just the tail of the tape, I guess, especially with F1. The paper product was horrific. That came out last year was the first year of it, and it was terrible. And it's like Topps took a leaf out of Panini's book and went, well, the Lewis Hamilton image that we're going to use for the paper product, we're putting it in Topps Chrome and we're going to use it for this as well. And it's just like, what are we doing? It's like movies these days, there's like no imagination anymore. And that's the thing that really annoys me. Like I look at like Project 22 on Topps, where they give artists the opportunity to design cards. And obviously our good friend Tyson does designs for them. And it gives the opportunity, like I said, to a lot of these artists. And I think to myself, why aren't you just getting them to design the cards for you? Seriously, there's no imagination. It's like we're turning to Disney, where we're going to turn every cartoon into a live action remake, and they're all flopping. And the products are, let's use this for Hoops, but okay, we use the same image for Hoops Premium, which I get. But you know what? Let's take this and put it into Prism. Or we use the Prism Draft Picks image and we just Photoshop that image on the Cade Cunningham with a Pistons jersey instead of his college jersey. It's just like, what's happening? I don't get it. It's just no imagination. And that's the thing. Like you listen to, I've gone blank here. Carvin. You listen to Carvin, who designed all these amazing products across Upper Deck and Panini. And I go to myself, where's that gone? Where has that gone? It's like you lose a great mind in the hobby like that behind design, and it hasn't been replaced since. And it's sad, if you ask me.
Who doesn't want the Kevin Durant just standing there holding the basketball by his side, looking like he hates his life?
In every product.
Yes,
in every product.
Everything.
He starts playing.
Broke,
no, we go back to that image. Oh, it's terrible. Have you seen how bad the Ben Simmons image is in Chronicles for Brooklyn?
It's terrible.
It's no good.
And then Zion looks fat in all his pictures that he picked. No, I do want to because we were talking about F1, and Jeremy and I we came on to your F1 podcast. They go live on every F1 race, and for them it's like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. You get Saucy that sleeps. Call him Sleepy Saucy during the stream. But we learned, I specifically, Jeremy, I don't know who you learned. You just watch and you're good at learning from that. But I've learned so much from Domma that if you have a question about F1, Domma is your guy, I would say, unless he tells you who to bet and you put your house down and it's Charles Leclerc and now Max is just going to win it all. But besides that,
tell us how you really feel, Manny.
He saved. I would say he saved me so much money because he told me not to buy tops or any product of 2021 for F1. And the reason being is because 2020 has that premium that people are starting to pump to 2021 that there's no rookies. They're P2 rookies, right? You have actually Mick Schumacher was the only rookie in that set, or there's one more, but there's only two. What I'm getting at is only two. And people are like spending thousands and thousands of dollars for these guys when you could just be buying the tops 2020 at that time frame for the same price.
I think it was Zhou Guanyu was the other one alongside Mick Schumacher. But the funny thing was, I think there's only 35,000 boxes made for Topps Chrome 2020. I think it was 35,000. And then I think that was doubled in 2021. It's just that scarcity of it. If you go onto eBay right now and you type in Topps Chrome F1 2020, they've held their value. Mm-hmm. They're literally sitting around that $3,000 to $3,500 US a box, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It got as high as I saw one sell for $4,200 at one stage. That was really early this year, maybe at the end of last year, heading into this year's season. But it just it's just common sense, and I think I'm pretty glad common sense did prevail to some sense, where they're like, well, the paper product in 2021, this is the way to go. But we were sitting here going, it's not the NBA and it's not the NFL and it's not soccer where you've got probably 100 rookies a season or 50 rookies coming into the product every year. There's literally 2 or 1 if you're lucky. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the thing. The biggest one was Topps Dynasty, however you want to call it. A lot of people have given me shit on that, but I call it Dynasty. That was epic. That was like the flawless of that product. If people were unsure what it was, and 1 card per box. Yeah, you could get a Gunther Steiner to 5, and yeah, you've wasted your money. But you're wasting your money when they were like, was it $3,500 a box? Now they were selling for $500 or $600 US a box. At one stage when they first came out, people said, oh yeah, this is okay, oh it's F1, and then the Topps Chrome exploded, the Sapphire exploded from 2020, and then in retrospect people went, oh, there's patch autos, like why the hell aren't we collecting Dynasty, which is the high-end product? So
I'll remember jumping on that stream for 2 things ever. One, the most horrific accident that resulted in everybody walking away like relatively healthy, and us just sitting there for like, ooh, and everybody was like streaming the race. So Manny had it on the TV. I had it on my laptop over here. You guys were watching, and then there was like that moment of silence. It was like, holy shit, I hope he is okay. And then it was cool. And to your point, Manny, earlier about Domma, was like, we were talking about strategy and pit stops, and like somebody who doesn't understand the sport at that high a level, I really am fascinated by nuance and the actual like X's and O's that go into it. And understanding it's truly a team sport. It's not just a driver. If you don't have from the pit to the driver to race control, like if they're not in lockstep, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah. Example, Ferrari, every race, they screw up something. How do you feel about the new races that they just announced for next year? They added Las Vegas in November. Are you guys coming? Where we got to go as a group, get a penthouse on the strip, 2 Thicc, double coverage together?
Well, first and foremost, I'm very happy. It's 2020. Sorry, 2020. 24 races on the 2023 calendar. So an extra race. It's the most I've ever had, which is very nice. The Australian race for you two when you come down is in March 31st to the 2nd of April. So that's for you guys. That's very early on. That's race 3. And then Sauce and I will head over to you in round 23, which is the 16th to the 18th of November. And it is on a Saturday, that race. It's the 4th time F1 race will be on a Saturday. And based on what I've heard with Manny's connections, I might not have to pay for accommodation when it comes to Las Vegas.
No,
So
Jeremy,
we're all good, Jeremy. You and I, Saucy, the wives.
Hey,
it's all good.
you guys make it here. I definitely will handle accommodations. And I would gladly come to Australia. You just keep those fucking death spiders away from me, or
yes,
whatever
the
fucking
spiders
weird bugs and shit you guys got going on over there.
Man, you know what's really cool? I think it's cool. You're probably gonna be like, this guy is crazy. He's like some Steve Irwin Aussie. My backyard, I back onto a nature reserve. I've told this story on our podcast, and I've got kangaroos so I've got a fence, there's like a creek, and then there's a walking path, and then there's literally the nature reserve. And I can see the kangaroos from my back porch. And so they live there. No one in this neighborhood has ever seen a snake, ever. All right? So touch wood, I never see the snake. But I've got a little friend that has decided to shack up at my place. Not a spider, Manny. It's okay. Relax.
I just
Relax.
got chilled.
Not a spider.
I just thought of like the big
My little friend is about this big. He is a blue tongue lizard, and he literally lives under my home. They're actually harmless, so they're perfect to have around your house. That eat up all the bugs and all that stuff, so you don't need to worry about infestations. They eat spiders, Manny, so they're the perfect pet. It's a reptile. It's fine. It does nothing. They actually ward off snakes, which is good. But yeah, I got a blue tongue lizard that he comes out and he sunbakes. It's 21 degrees Celsius here today, so I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. So
Pretty damn
sun's
warm.
out. Yeah, sun's out. He comes out. He sunbakes, gets the heat, does what he does. But that's the type of stuff you got to deal with. I didn't tell you the story, Manny, about a month and a half ago. I had my bags down at my front door, and I went to go pick it up, and I seen this black thing on the floor, and I'm going, "What the hell is this?" I turned the light on, and I said to Manny a while ago, I reckon I've only seen 4 spiders in my whole time in my house. And like they get in because there's spiders everywhere here in Australia. And it was this big black spider. And I even shit myself. I was like, what the hell is that? I turned the light on and I honestly thought of you straight away. Every time I see a spider, I go, Manny said he will never come to my home if he comes to Australia because of spiders.
Yeah, no way. I see on TV, they're like this big and they're just chilling in corners. And people try to get like a big old bull or something to try to catch it, and they just skirt off. It's nope.
No, dude, I always get caught up on those ones where it's like it looks like a snake fucked a scorpion, fucked a spider, fucked an alien, and it's like chilling on the side of somebody's home.
Yeah,
like you could like you would need a shotgun, like 3 or 4 shots just to drop that motherfucker. I'm like, nope.
And the Aussies are just,
man.
Oh, look at that. It's just hanging out.
They're petting it.
Yeah, let's get it outside.
Man, when I first moved into my home here, just another quick one, another spider story just for Manny. I got home on 2 occasions within the same week, and it was the same type of spider. I have no idea what type it was. It was a big fucker, though. It was huge. It's about that big.
Yep. No.
And both times I caught these spiders, it was at night. Oh no, one was at night, one was in the morning. And I have this big stick at the front of my house, which I just keep near the bin in case there is spider webs. If I ever do need to, I've only had to do it twice. And it's these 2 occasions. I rocked up at night. I turned in the headlights. So I got steps that walk up onto my front porch to my front door. I couldn't get up the steps. I shit you not, this spider within a matter of 4 or 5 hours had created this web, which was massive. I reckon it was like 1.5 meters by like 2 meters. It connected from the front porch, the roof, to the bin, which is at the front of my house. And it was like something out of Indiana Jones. I had to take down the thing, make sure the spider didn't go on me because it was huge. I'm like, I don't know if this thing's poisonous. I have no idea. I've never seen it before. So that's the type of shit that you got to deal with. toughens you up
man,
here in Australia, man.
My man just went like, oh yeah, we don't have a spider problem, and proceeded to tell 2 stories where the spider wrapped the house up in fucking web. He's got a stick by his front door, the old spider stick. Hey, hon, can you get me the spider stick? We got a big one. Oh my God.
Hey, well, that's the one I told you inside my house, the 2 outside. That's 3, and I've seen another one who's crawling up the wall once. That's just for Manny. I was watching TV and went, holy shit.
You turn around and run from the spider, then there's a jacked kangaroo looking to either punch you in the face or shank you to death. You go over there as a boa constrictor that's 30 feet long, 18 inches in diameter. There's fucking koalas with their STDs eating eucalyptus. It's just fucking insane, man.
The thing that I'm most frightened of, I've never seen a snake, so I'd probably shit myself if I see a snake. But the thing I'm actually most frightened of is a kangaroo. Genuinely.
Really? No,
yeah,
I would
because they're harmless. They're actually harmless if you don't go and provoke them. Like you see those videos of kangaroos attacking people. It's because they've provoked them and been idiots and think, oh, they like kangaroos box, so I'll try and fight a kangaroo. They're just dumb. But genuinely, they do not move for anybody. So if they're on a walking path, you turn around and you walk the other way. You don't walk up to them because their claws are like razor sharp. It's like the Velociraptor claws from freaking Jurassic Park. If they scratch you, they can tear your whole arm. Like it's messed up. So just walk the other way. I ain't messing
People
with
think
them.
that they can box them. What they actually really do is they fucking grab you and then they fucking shank you to death.
Oh, they do. That's what they try and do. If you watch it, they actually try and grab people because they actually claw you back and rip you. They rip you apart. It's fucked up, man.
I'll take that over the spiders. The spiders you got, I'll take that.
In America, we've got like Canadian geese. And so they're like these fat fucking birds, and wherever they land, they act like they own the joint.
Yep.
So like you could be like on a highway and they decide that they're gonna like fucking cross the road. That's it. And so you think it's like just like a fat fucking bird with a skinny neck, no big deal. But if you step up on one of those fuckers, they'll chase you. They flap their wings and they like fucking peck at you. They're not gonna kill you like a fucking what you guys are dealing with. But nonetheless, it's the same thing. You see one of them, it's just like, is it really worth, maybe getting, a couple of lacerations? I'm just going to go the other way.
Yeah, but, you got bears and mountain lions and shit. Like, mountain lions scare me to death. Like, I seen that video that came out with that guy was on the walking path. It was like a year and a half ago. And, like, he walked past the mountain lion's cubs. And unintentionally, like, he wasn't trying to provoke him, but the mountain lion saw him as a threat. So it like chases and it hisses and it opens up its arms when it's nah.
That's just
that shit.
That's just.
I'm not going. Yeah, it's just a cat. It's fine.
Just a cat.
Oh, that's all right. We got like a lion. That's okay.
I have a friend who lives in Austria, and I spent some time over in Germany. And one thing he told me that Americans don't recognize or realize that America is just so big that you can experience, like in Europe, you have to go to several different countries to experience certain things. You can get tropical in America. You can get, backwoods in America. You can get desert in America. So where I'm at, besides like maybe in my lifetime, I've ever seen like a snake once or twice, or we'll deal with like these little spiders that aren't shit. And that's it. I haven't had to deal with like, any sort of animal that'll kill me. But that's also impacted our decision making because ultimately I think we would like to ultimately retire in Las Vegas, but the thought of having to deal with potentially seeing a scorpion, the first time I see a scorpion in my house, I'm gonna burn that fucking thing down and just be done with it.
Yep,
I love it, man.
But hey, Jeremy, let's get to because we're on this subject. Let's do getting to know double coverage. We were gonna ask Sauce some questions. This is kind of like our ending where we just basically it's just BS questions. So
I'll try and answer for him as well.
Whoa. No. This is getting to know somebody.
It's not BS, man.
Questions. Yeah.
These are the questions.
Hold on, Manny. These are the kinds of things that we'll talk about. We'll be shooting the breeze. You get to these questions, that's where it comes to a pause and people actually like talk out loud and they share their thought process and why they chose what they will. So for instance, we're going to start with a game that in America is called Marry, Fuck, Kill. You get 3 options. Yep. You marry one, you fuck one, you kill one. So I'm going to start with kangaroos, koalas, death spiders.
Death spiders.
Your spiders.
I'd marry the koala. Fuck the spiders and kill the kangaroo. Fuck that shit.
Nice.
I know the answer to this, but no, not everyone would. Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar.
Ronaldo, Neymar, Messi. And funnily enough on that, I deliberately pulled these out.
Wait, no, what are you doing? You can't just say them. I'm
That's just the Ronaldo I bought recently. That's off cool. Project 22, which is sick. Sweet. That's from Mike Perry. And this was from our very own Tyson Beck. And because Tyson is a friend of ours, I never thought I'd show a card like this in my life. But yes, I own a Lionel Messi card. He designed it, so I bought it. So I collect everything he pretty much creates. So
hey, you got to show the homies some love.
Yeah, but it's Ronaldo, Neymar, Messi. I don't want to elaborate on that, do I? Do I have to?
Yeah, who? Okay, so you're marrying Ronaldo.
It's marry.
Marry Ronaldo. Fuck Ronaldo. Kill Messi. Neymar's fine.
Neymar's a side piece.
All right. Lance Stroll, Gotifi, Gunther.
Laquifi.
Marry Gunther, 100%.
Let's go.
Gunther.
Fuck Laquifi. Kill Stroll, man. Stroll's so shit. He's terrible, bro. That's just daddy's team. He's a dud.
All right. Panini, Tops, Upper Deck.
Marry Tops. Fuck Panini. Kill Upper Deck.
Really? I thought it would be reversed. I thought you were gonna kill.
We actually need Panini because we're getting licensed product and they're putting stuff out. Upper Deck, unfortunately, sick designs. They got no license and they put Sabrina Ionescu PMGs of her in Uniqlo puffer jackets, which look absolutely horrific. So yeah, that's
all right. So this was a late addition. This is after I saw the Bush card. So we've got Playboy, Hustler, Penthouse.
This is the one that Saucy would have loved. Saucy would have.
This is Saucy's one. Mine is
if for 5 minutes.
If there's Hustler, Playboy, and Penthouse, there's no marry, there's no kill. It's just fuck, isn't it? So.
All right, so now we're gonna get into. I don't know if you've seen our content, but we do. She's a 10 or she's a 3. She does something, and you got to rate her 1 through 10. She's a 2, but crushes a shoey.
Oh, 10.
A 10? That's not nasty,
man. Yeah, that's Danny Rick, Tai Tuivasa territory. That's elite stuff, man. It's dirty as, but it's elite as. That's good.
She's a 10, but she's a diehard New Zealander.
8. New Zealanders aren't too bad. We haven't got no rivalry with them. They're like sheep a lot. You can do your research behind that.
He's a 10, but he's dating your daughter and utilizes BBCE.
Double coverage condoms.
He's dead. No, he's a 0. He's a 0.
Double coverage condoms.
Hey, there's gonna be like a grading process where if I ever have a daughter and she brings a guy home, there's gonna be subgrades and everything put on that guy, man. Straight up, Jeremy, I feel for you. I don't know if your daughter's seeing anyone, but you better have that reckless cards grading fucking.
3 daughters, dude. 3 daughters. When people come over, I put the fear of God in them, and I don't care. I do not care. And I hate when somebody's like, "Oh no, he's a sweet young boy." I'm like, "No, I was a sweet young boy too."
Yes, that's exactly right. Thank you very much, ladies. If you're listening to this, yes, that's exactly right.
Your son's boyfriend's a piece of shit.
Yep.
All right, 15. We all know what 15-year-old boys want, man. None of this true love at 15. Only. Get the F out of here. True love at 15. Fuck off. Come on, man.
That is true. That is fucking true.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you making time on your holiday to jump on with us, man. We are massive fans of the Double Coverage Pod. It is refreshing to just hear some people chop it up, have a good laugh, not take themselves serious, but when it's time to touch on a serious topic, be able to properly articulate yourself. And, one thing that I gravitate towards is people who acknowledge or admit when they're wrong. And, you sharing that story that somebody slid in the DMs and you have no problem owning it. I operate the same way. And I think that's how you build a true following and audience, is just being your authentic self. Nobody's perfect. And people who pretend to be oftentimes are full of shit. So, man, I really appreciate you guys for jumping on. I hope Sauce is having a good time with that card, because he looked like he had that little glow in his eye. Like, I had an idea of what was going to happen when he turned that camera off.
100%. Thank you so much, both of you, for having me on, and Saucy. I think it's like the 4th podcast in 2+ years that we've actually been on. We've actually been invited on. So we actually do appreciate that. And we appreciate what you do as well. We love up and coming new podcasts in the space. You're doing a fantastic job. I just really want you to keep pushing with it and persevering. So keep killing it. We'll keep collabing. We'll have to get you on an actual podcast, not an F1 pod, and do the same thing, chop it up. But thanks again for having me. Anytime for you guys.
Thank you. And where can everyone find you?
It's at DBL coverage _ on IG, double coverage on Facebook. YouTube is what we're trying to grow. That's doublecoverage.media. If you jump on there and drop us a sub, that'd be much appreciated.
And TikTok. Don't forget TikTok.
TikTok.
We see your guys' mugs with the green screen on TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok's actually going pretty well. It's a very underrated platform, I think. You just got to try not to get too addicted to scrolling. It happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks again.
Thank you. And we will definitely do some more support whenever you need it. F1 streams, if you guys if one of you guys can't be on it, let me know. Of course, Jeremy will be on. We can do a lot more collaboration.
And you can definitely jump in on our pod to host whenever you like, because there'll be definitely more often than not. There'll be another time where I can't be there to run the show with Sauce. So,
and on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed your hobby release, and we'll talk to you guys soon.